Hello everyone, I'm Arunima from Knit and Order, and in this video I'm going to show you how to craft Tunisian knit stitches. So this is a technique which comes in very handy if you want to join two pieces of fabric together that are made with Tunisian knit stitches, or even if they're not, the join here would be Tunisian knit stitches. This can be useful if you're trying to repair a project where you had to maybe cut in between and then join two pieces, or if you were seaming shoulders. Um, I have used this in a future pattern, which will likely not be released by the time I release this video. So I have used this for seaming shoulders and it has worked out really, really well. So I hope this will be helpful for you. And it's really simple. Just the beginning is, the setup is a little bit, uh, it's not hard. There's just a few steps to perform when you start, but once you get into the flow, this part is not that difficult. So let's jump right into it. So to explain this technique, I have these two swatches, which are both made with knit stitches. They're the exact same. Here you can see knit stitches, and this last row is not, I've not crocheted a bind off row. So these are sort of live stitches. I could technically start working with another strand of yarn and continue this piece, but I stopped here because I wanted to show you this technique. And to be able to learn this technique, it is important to understand the anatomy of a stitch in Tunisian crochet. So it is important to understand that for any stitch in this last row right here, which is not bound off, I'm just going to pick this one. There is a front vertical bar and there is a back vertical bar. So it is important to know to be able to identify these. And if you do know how to identify these, then this should be pretty straightforward. So again, there is this one stitch here. This is the front vertical bar, and this right here is the back vertical bar. So before we start, I want to show you these stitch markers that I've used and why. I'm going to explain why I've put them where I have a little bit later, but I just wanted to tell you that it would be good if you could start with this. That would help you identify your stitches where your needle needs to be inserted easily. So in this swatch, I have identified the front vertical bar of the first stitch and put a stitch marker there. And in this one, I have the last stitch of the row. That's the usually where we make our last stitch. That's the edge stitch with two vertical bars. So I've picked the front vertical bar and I've added a stitch marker here. And I'll now show you how that will help. So here I'm going to turn this around and align these together. You can see the stitch markers come together now. I'm going to now begin. So I'm going to pick up this swatch here, and I have this first stitch, the front loop of the first, the front vertical bar of this first stitch marked here. So I'm going to insert my needle, my thread needle through this from back to front. And I'm going to remove the stitch marker. Now for this, now I'm going to just put this down and I'm going to pick this one. And this loop, this vertical bar here is marked. So I'm going to insert my hook, insert my needle through here. And I'm going to find the next loop. So this here is the next stitch. This is the entire loop. Here, this is the back vertical bar. This is the front vertical bar. And that's why it's important to understand the anatomy of a knit stitch here. So of a stitch in Tunisian crochet. So here, so this entire thing makes up the last stitch. If you turn it around like this, you can see that this entire thing here is the last stitch. And I just marked this one vertical bar. And here, this is the next stitch, and this is the back vertical bar and the front vertical bar. So I'm going to turn it around again. So this is the front vertical bar of the last stitch, and here is the next stitch. This is the front vertical bar. So I'm going to go through this from back to front, and I'm going to pick up the front vertical bar of that next stitch, and I'm going to remove the stitch marker. Now these are joined. I'm going to go through, so every time we insert our needle, it will pick up two vertical bars from now. So for this panel, I call it my front panel, and this one the back panel, so it's easy for me to remember. So for my front panels, I have to go through the front vertical bar, the same place that I inserted my needle before, and the back vertical bar of the next stitch. So front, back. Getting all my tails out of the way. And then for the back panel, it's back and then front. So here we had picked up the front vertical bar. Now we're going to go through that same stitch, which was this entire thing right here. That's one stitch. This is the front vertical bar and this is the back vertical bar. So we're going to pick up the back vertical bar here and the front vertical bar of the next one. So you go back and then front. And in this panel, it's front, the same spot as the previous one, but we pick up the front vertical bar and then the back vertical bar of the next one. So here it's front and then back, here it's back and then front. So back, front. And make sure that you don't make this too tight, just leave it about the same height as the knit stitches in both of these panels. So here it's front, back, and then back, front, front, back, and then back, front, front, back, back, front, front, back, back, front, front, and back. I'm trying to not split the yarn. And then back, front. This gets really easy once you understand what's going on. You don't even have to look for the front and back bars. You can just sort of look at your fabric and understand which ones they are. And then back, front, front, back, back, front, front, back, then back, and then the front vertical bar of that last stitch, and then front. Then I'm just going to go through this, the front bar here as well, just to complete this. Here, this is how it's looking, and it's almost like if you use the same color, then you will be able to see that it looks like it's a continuous set of knit stitches, so you don't see the the join here. I'll actually do it in the same color and show you how it looks. But this is really, really straightforward and simple to do if you can identify the front and back loops, front and back vertical bars of these stitches in your last um, in the live rows. And here, if you look at the back, it's not even visible, so it's completely invisible at the back, and here at the front you can see how it looks. And I think this is a great way to make a repair with knit stitches, or even to seam shoulders. I have a pattern that will be coming up later where I use this technique to make shoulder seams and even do another join, which it's just an interesting pattern. And I hope that this will be helpful. This video will be helpful. That's it about this technique. I'll just go ahead and do this in the exact same color as these swatches are made, and I'm just going to show you how it looks. So here it is. I have joined the two panels with the same color as the color of the panel, and you can see that it's hard to make out where the transition is. Here's where they are grafted together. I don't know if you can notice, but here, this is how it's looking at the front, and here is how it looks at the back. You can't make out anything at the back, and in the front, this is how it is. So I hope this technique will be helpful for you. If you use it for anything, please share it with me. Let me know how it worked out. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in my other videos. Bye-bye.